Swapping mags!
Swapping mags. Swapping mags. Swapping mags.
Swapping mags!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Swapping Mags, the unofficial Rainbow Six Siege podcast. I'm Jason Anderson, and joining me as always, we have... That's right. Oh, right. Okay, Braxton and Pat are not here this week. They are both dealing with issues, and that is totally fine. Leaving me alone, and I am the last operator standing. See, if they were here, they would have told me not to say that. But we're still here. I still want to give you an episode. It's going to be a shorter episode this week, because I really have nobody to play off of. I don't. But I still want to talk to you guys about everything Rainbow Six Siege, so let's get right into it. Let's get into what's in the canister.
I know what you're wondering. What's in the canister? I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
So we teased it last week, and now we're going to talk about it this week. Unfortunately, I don't have Braxton and Pat to talk about it with me. That's okay. Let's talk about it right now. Let's talk about the Russian operators in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, we're going to start with the defenders, and one of the worst defenders in the game. I know, I get it. He's a meme. He's the greatest operator in the game. He's not. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to give you some buff ideas, or just maybe say he's bad. Everybody, let's talk about Lord Tachanka. So, what is there to say about a character that obviously has become a meme in the past and still is a meme? It's kind of dying down, the whole Lord Tachanka thing. I see on Reddit people like, just let it die, dude. So, Tachanka is a character that is stationary about 95% of the time. He has a fine gun. I believe Kapkan has the same gun as him. But his main use is to hunker down and be a human turret. In a game such as this, in Rainbow Six, where you're tactically moving and, there are anchors. But a good thing with most anchors is mobility. If you see a Tachanka, of course he's going to have the best gun. I wouldn't say best gun in the game. And I'm talking about his turret, of course. It's more the most powerful gun in the game. But he has 3 shields around him. He's protected, kind of. His legs are pretty much there. They're just hanging there like 2 noodles to shoot and kill. Now, this is an operator that people laugh at and wouldn't pick unless they're down 3-0 in a ranked. We joke, how do we make this person better? Now, that's where we come into a lot of different ideas to make Tachanka better. I remember in a couple podcasts ago, Pat said, why don't we make it that the turret could be functioning from a crouching position or even a lying down position. So it's basically an adjustable turret, which I do think is a very interesting idea, especially if you are lying down. You could be lying down, have the turret there, and with the shield around you, you're taking a lot of that damage. So I do agree with Patrick. I think that's a really interesting idea because, again, the shields are destructible. And then there's that buff also, where you could add an immense amount of health to these shields to make Tachanka even a little viable. I don't know. I want to hear you guys tell me. We got the new Twitter. So it's the Swapping Mags Pod Twitter. If you go there and tell me what you think Tachanka would be, how could he be viable in a play? And now I'm thinking, what map would you like? Oh, we need a Tachanka, and I can't think of one. It would have to be, honestly, probably the new map, Parabellum, the Villa, because it's so tight quarters that maybe that's a viable play. I'm not 100% on that. Because you see, Tachanka is just, I hate to say it right now, Tachanka is the worst character in the game. And come up with a buff to make him better. If anybody could do it, could be Ubisoft, because, a character like Blitz was a kind of a joke character also for a little bit, and then they added sprinting, and I think they made his gun a little better. And now he's viable in play. So we gotta wait for that to come around. But honestly, I think Ubisoft at this point is in on the meme, where they're, I've seen them say Lord Tachanka, and I've seen them post pictures of him shirtless and buff and sexy as all hell. So, I don't think a buff would come unless something changes in the game. Oh my god. Did you just hear that? But anyway, I'm trying to think any more buffs that I would give to Chanka. You know, he's already, I believe, a 3 armor, 1 speed. You know, he needs all the armor he can. Make him a 12 armor, 0 speed. He could be in a wheelchair. I'll be fine with that. Actually, that would be super interesting. Put him in a wheelchair. Just like super mobile. That, Jason, see, this is why I need Braxton and Pat here, because they would just tell me how idiotic and stupid I am. But man, that would be cool. You just see Tachanka rolling around the map. Now, he wouldn't be bound to the wheelchair. Maybe he can get out of it. Because, I mean, I don't know what, operation would take a paraplegic, but, that's an interesting strategy altogether. Or, the final buff I can offer is that it could be kind of like Maestro, where it is remotely a turret instead of him standing behind it. But that's a whole can of worms. It would change the operator too much, in my opinion. But, I don't see a buff coming in the future, and I don't see one ever, happening. So, that's Tachanka. We're going to get him out of the way first. Now to a character that has gone through a lot, and I really like in certain situations. Now, I want to say this. When we went to Atlantic City, Braxton, Pat, and I, Braxton kind of asked me, do you think they're going to be in a Kapkan play? Because I'm a big Kapkan guy. And, I thought about it. I said, yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see them, they rush here and there in pro play, and I want to see that. And shockingly, it was not picked once, not one time in the finals. Now, I thought, why? Why wouldn't they pick this person? And there are some reasons, and we're going to get all into it. Now, I want to go into his past. When Kapkan was first released, the first time he was released, he had 3 traps, and they would be instant kill, which is not the case anymore. The reason they were instant kill is because there was a red laser beam going across the door. You see it before it goes away now, but that would just stay there. So I think he's more viable now that he just kind of hurts them. I think it gives 60 damage than giving the 100 or 200 damage that he would have done before, because a lot of people are smart. Unless they are rushing, they're going to see that laser, and they're going to shoot it. Now, nowadays, you have 5 would do 60 damage, and people definitely get hurt more than I've seen in the past. Now, I don't think he deserves a nerf. I think it's perfect the way it is. If anything, I think he also deserves a buff, especially with Lesion. Now, this is, more interesting to me, is that Lesion, his goo mines disappear. Now, you could see them, but you have to be looking. You really have to be looking hard. Am I suggesting that Kapkan should have invisible traps? Not necessarily. The way he works with Russia, they might not have that technology that the, I don't know, what's Legion? South Korea? No, that's totally wrong. But whatever they have, they could have just, higher tech. My suggestion to buff a Kapkan would 100% be to make his traps smaller. Not the radius of the blast, just the big square EDD. Make that just a little tinier, Because it is just an absolute unit right now. It is huge right now, and people see it. If you want a tactical advantage, you say, well, they got to see it somehow. Well, you can explain that with the Legion also. They can see it if they're looking. That's the whole thing. You want to be patient. You want to be looking. And I think if you're looking for the Kapkan, you're going to find it. But if you make it a little smaller, don't make it invisible, just make it smaller. I think Kapkan would be picked in pro play a whole lot more. I really do. And I'm a big Kapkan fan. I know I play him. I like his gun, I do think there are more viable characters nowadays, especially even trap operators. Like I said, I think Lesion, doing the 10 health instead of the 60, I think you're more guaranteed to get a 10 health hit than a 60. And that's where Kapkan falls into the, should I pick him, should I not? But at the end of the day, I do think Kapkan is fine in certain situations. Again, in close quarters, like a villa, where you're so many rooms. Pick a Kapkan. I know Braxton, when Braxton picks Kapkan, he literally runs to places that you wouldn't expect a Kapkan trap to be, across the map, and sometimes he'll just get lucky. Me, on the other hand, I place them just pretty much around the objective, because I don't want to run. I don't want to do all that. And I'll get some hits here, but Braxton, he'll get the hits if he's very smart with his play. So if you're thinking, how should I play a Kapkan? How does it work? The way I would suggest is do Braxton's way. Literally run across the map, put them in weird locations, because, I'll say 6 out of 10 times they're going to run into one of those and they're going to be pissed. So that's pretty much my Kapkan talk. If I could rank, sure, I'll rank these from 1 to 10. I would give Tachanka, sadly, like a 3 out of 10. I hate to say it. I mean, that's just how the character is built. And, memes aside, if I was rocking memes, I'd be like, go 100 out of 10. Give him more weapons. Have knives shoot out of his face. Sure, but he's not a good operator. 3 out of 10. Kapkan, I would give more of a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. If including. It depends on the map per se. So 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, Kapkan. Now we're gonna go over to the attacking side of things, and this is where things get interesting, because these are two of the operators that I like these guys the most, and they're both very viable in different situations. I'm gonna leave my favorite for last. So let's go right into things with Glaz. Glaz is another operator that has been through a lot of change. When we first started with Glaz, the big thing is he didn't have that sight. That thermal sight. As it's been introduced, people I think have been 50-50 on it. That's another meme gun where, in his intro video, a spot of color out of place, and then you see a glowing yellow minion man, and you think, okay, that's the guy. I certainly like it, and I think it works a lot better, especially with the you always run smoke. If you don't run smoke with Glaz, you're a dum-dum, okay? But anyway, I think with all these changes, Glaz is a really viable play. I'll say, if it's a certain map, most times. A lot of people don't like to play Glaz, but if you are a good shot, if you play Blackbeard or Buck or anything, think about using Glaz. Really do. He is really viable in a lot of situations, especially with more operators running smokes, like a Capitao or something. We run Capitao on bomb a lot. If you shoot down those smokes and then you have a Glaz, that makes things really, really interesting. The one thing I will say about his gun is I think it is pretty unreliable when it comes to hit marking. I think that's the game side of the fault. I think more recently in the Parabellum patch, the things have not been working well for Glaz. I don't know if it's my potato aim that the Braxton and Pat keep bringing up, but I do think I'll shoot a guy. I remember I would shoot a guy in the stomach, and I would be like, all right, he's down. Now it's headshot or 3 shots to the stomach, and I don't know if that's just me being bad at Glaz or that's just something new that they nerfed with him. But I think if a man has a sniper, he should be able to 1-2 shot somebody fairly consistently. That being said, I know I brought up something last week with Braxton, and I said, would there ever be a sniper defender? And I want to think about that for a little bit. Now, I would definitely have to have a nerfed version of Glaz's gun for an attacker, because, it's essentially a spawn peek weapon, and that's it. Because once they get inside, it's the same with Glaz. Once you're inside, you're at a disadvantage where you have 30 bullets flying at you to 3. Doom, doom, doom. In that span, you already, your head is sprayed all over the mat. I do think in the future there would be an attacking operator with a sniper rifle. I don't necessarily know how they would use it. I think Braxton and I don't think Pat was in on that because he, he's just on his phone. I don't know what he does half the time. It would have to be a bolt action. It would 100% be a one boom, then click, then boom. It can't be Glaz's gun where it's boom, 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 boom. It would be a broken character. But back to Glaz, I think there are certain maps that I do really like Glaz, and some that I wouldn't even, people wouldn't suspect me to think. For instance, I think Skyscraper, and I know you like, Skyscraper, really? I don't know, it's just, once you get into Skyscraper, it's pretty open, especially upstairs, and something about it that I really like. But that would be one of the more, interesting plays. I do like him on Cafe. I do think that's an interesting play. I really used to like him on Favela. I even would say Skyscraper, because once you're in there, it's pretty huge. But screw Skyscraper, it's the worst map in the game. Where else? Just like, if it's open, play him. Yeah, if it's Villa, don't. A close quarters map, do not play him. I remember my favorite map to play him on was actually Bartlett University, because it was so outside heavy. Then when it's inside, it's still pretty open, and there were certain spots where you could literally walk across the map, and there was another like university that you could stand on and shoot, and I would get a lot of kills that way because they didn't know where it was coming from. Bartlett University, again, Braxton hated Bartlett University. A lot of people didn't like it. I certainly actually did. I thought it was actually a really fun map, and maybe I would love to see it come back into at least casual, but it would have to be nerfed. Same with Favela. I think Favela could be a very good map. They would just have to fix it. We've been playing the Clubhouse map a lot, and I will say I think Clubhouse is so much better. I think they know what they're doing at Ubisoft. I see people, fix your game, blah, blah, blah. They do not want to present a product that is bad. Never. They never want to do that. They're trying to make their game better every time they come up with something new. So I know I'm getting off the Glaz topic, but I just, you got to give these guys some leverage. I think they're working on things being better every time. That being said, Glaz, they screwed him up. I don't know what's up with his gun. But I do love Glaz, and he deserves some consideration in a 5 operation pick. If I would have to rate Glaz right now, I'm going to rate Glaz also a 7, because there are, with those 3 that I didn't give him, there are people that could be better than him. I do like, for a lot of DMR characters that, if you're quick on the trigger, could be better. But, because it is really tough. I want to give Glaz a higher score, because I do really like Glaz, and I think there are a lot of good Glaz play. I did see a lot of good Glaz play in the finals. I know, I believe Fabian played some... It might have been Fabian, or it might have been somebody from Rogue. It might have been the Jonah Hill-looking guy from Rogue. Braxton would correct me and tell me who it was. I think it was Smash Hug. Oh my god. Sorry. But anyway, we're going to move on to my favorite of the Russian operators, and you're going to think, why is he your favorite? And I will give you all that. Let's go to Fuse. Now, Fuse has been my favorite since the beginning of the game. I'd say 3 years ago. The reason I like Fuse is it's just a chaos character, essentially. He's also a memed character, of course, meme operator, but I think, obviously, if you play him on Hostage, you're a dummy. Also, just turn off Hostage. Don't play Hostage. We don't play Hostage. I think Secure the Area and Bomb are the 2 most viable game types. Hostage is fun, but it's also kind of, it's definitely the 3rd of the 3. But Fuse, if you're not playing Hostage, is really an interesting character, and I don't believe he should be buffed. I don't believe he should be nerfed. I think he's one of the more perfect characters in the game. The one thing I will say about him before I go into why I love him is, if I would give him a buff, it would be that if you're standing, sometimes the grenades will shoot back into you and kill you, especially if you're standing on them. You have to place it down, walk away, hit it, then you're fine. I've killed myself more times than I can count. Actually, if I pulled up my stats, it would be a ridiculous amount. But that being said, Fuse, if anybody doesn't know what Fuse is all about, Fuse has a cluster charge, 3 cluster charge that shoot, I believe, 5 or 4 hockey puck grenades out that'll essentially kill any character it hits. That's why I love him so much. I'm looking at my KD here. So I have 1,048 kills with Fuse, 822 deaths. So that's a KD of 1.27. That's my highest KD, by the way. So if you want to know if I'm good at this game or not, probably not. So let's see here. So let's talk about him more and more. I have 41 suicides, and I would say 35 of those are Fuse. But anyway, when you're thinking, well, what, Fuse map, what's the best Fuse map? They're all good. That's the thing about Fuse, is if they have windows, if they have places above them. I would say the worst one would be Skyscraper, because that whole thing is a metal block of garbage. I can't believe I keep crapping on that, but I will until I die. Even the new map Villa, it is so wooden, and it's just, why wouldn't you run Fuse? That's like, why wouldn't you run Buck, where you could just literally blow above them and kill them from above? It's just a smart play on a wooden map. I like him on Oregon. I like him on Cafe. I like him on Skyscraper. It's just, he's a viable character. And again, if you don't pick him, that's totally fine, because that's the beauty of Rainbow Six, is that there are other characters that, I don't like Fuse. The one thing I'll say about Fuse is that if you're getting used to the game and learning, Fuse is the character I would start out with. Because it's essentially free kills if you know where you're putting these things. If you learn, okay, if you're smart, if you're smart to say, okay, they're right here, I know that if I go one floor above, you can kill them. They've created counters to these people. A Cav is the biggest counter, I believe. That and Pulse. I've countlessly heard I pick Fuse and Braxton's like, oh man, they got a Pulse. I'm scared for you. Yeah, I'll try. I'll say Pulses don't get me as much as they should, because when I'm a Pulse and I see Capcan, I'll hear that doom doom. You throw your C4. By the way, always run C4 with Pulse, or you're dumb. Throw that C4, hit him, kill him. I know, he's just very. If there's a castle, I love seeing a castle when I'm Fuse. I love it, because you could just, you're more, I'm gonna be safe if I put this on this castle than not. So with Fuse, and here's another thing: don't run the shield with Fuse. Don't run the one with the bullets hanging out. I believe it's his AK. Run that. And I don't run ACOGs a lot, but I love his ACOG on that gun. It is such a good weapon. Play that. Don't play the shield. I've seen countless shield Fuses, and I think it makes him a worse character. Shields are great. Pistols are not. In a fight, you're going to lose most of the time. So that being said, Fuse, if I gave Fuse a rating, it would be 8.5 out of 10. I don't want to go 9 out of... If I said 9 out of 10, you guys would hang me. If I would say who's a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 operator, it would be more of the original, Ash is a 9, because her ability and her gun are fantastic. I love Twitch, even though every week I'll say they nerfed the hell out of her. She's a 9 out of 10 operator, but those are just the Russian operators, and it sucks that Braxton and Pat couldn't be here to talk to us, because I did 25 minutes on my own, which is pretty impressive. A couple more things I want to get into before we head out. Today was the NA Pro League Day 1, so I'm going to go over some results of that today. Number one, and the most, I don't know if this is shocking or is it just very incredible, is that Space Station 6-0's Cloud9. Now, I believe Cloud9 is just getting back into things with Rainbow Six, but a 6-0 defeat, man, that is rough for them. In other news, my favorite team, Evil Geniuses, beat Obey Alliance 6-2, and I know Canadian he played very well, which is awesome because I love him. You had Noble Esports beat Mouse 6-4 in the second match. And then, of course, this is a big one. Rogue, of course, beat SK Gaming 6-4, which was a very close match. My boy Braxton is not here to esport it up. He knows a lot more of it than I do. I'll say I hate Rogue. I think they're a bunch of jerks. And Evil Geniuses is the best team in the world, and they're going to win it this year. I predicted it from the beginning. Since Patrick isn't here, we will not be having Pat's problems, which is rough because I was working on a rap song. So we're going to talk about Jason's problems today. I don't have a song, but I will try right now. Hey, everybody. I can't do it. Okay, so Jason's problems this week. There was a post on Reddit about 6 days ago from TubeSocks94, and I want to talk about it. So essentially, Mr. Homeless, a YouTuber, did a video on attempting to get BattlEye to ban him. Now, BattlEye essentially bans people that are cheating in Rainbow Six. He used actual hacks and in the end had to actually get a human to ban him before BattlEye did. This just proves to me, and I'd like to thank not Kira for telling me all this information, that we need to fix these bugs and we need to fix these cheats, because this is a game where if you cheat, you are getting a tactical advantage every time. Pretty much every game, if you cheat, you're getting an advantage. But this game in particular, where you're using aim bots and teleportation, it ruins the experience, especially. I haven't seen this on PlayStation, but I have seen it on PC constantly. Like, it's a joke. And I think we should figure this out as a community and maybe replace BattlEye with something a little more stronger. This is a game where it's esports ready. We joke about, is this game esports ready? This game is esports ready, and it's a huge esports community, and you can't have cheaters. If you have cheaters, you're throwing everything off, and it's just not fair to the people that just want to sit down and have fun. So I'm heated right now. I think that needs to be fixed in the future. That's Jason's problems. Pat, if you're out there and listening, I just killed that segment, so you're a loser. But anyway, I just want to thank the community. We just made a new Twitter. We literally have been following everybody to get this podcast and our name out there. It's going to take some time. This is our 5th podcast. We're going to be here every day, every week, rain or shine. Like this week. This was a rough week for us. Internet's out, so I can't call Patrick. Braxton's dealing with some issues on his family side. He's doing great. Don't worry about him. Actually, you can give him a shout out. I know Zona. Thank you for your shouts out to Braxton. I'm sure he appreciates. I'm having a stroke. Appreciates it. And we just want to thank you guys, because we are getting bigger every week. People are messaging us, telling us how we're doing and how great we're doing, and how we have a good. We play off each other really well, especially this episode. I think we played off each other really well. And, we just want to thank you. Without you guys, this podcast would be dead already. And we're going to keep it going until it is. Follow us on Twitter at SwappingMagsPod. We have a Facebook. We haven't really turned that up yet. And I do believe we will be on Spotify starting this week, which is great for us. We can't wait for Spotify people, non-iPhone people, to listen to this. We are on YouTube also. If you type in Swapping Mags, we will pop up with the full podcast that you can listen on YouTube. So we're getting out there. We're trying every day to get you guys to listen to this podcast, and you really are doing great. Let's see. I want to talk for one more minute. I want a 30-minute podcast where I just talk. So let's see. What can I talk about? I know for a fact that I want Zona on this podcast. Sorry, Zona, I know you gave me your Discord. I will re-add my Discord so we can get you on next week's podcast. And that's another thing. We want your questions. You can submit us questions via audio, or you can just message us on Reddit. My Reddit account is Jayman, Jayman, 121594. There you go. Please don't send me pictures of your penis, because I don't want to see it. But I had a fun time this week, There was nobody telling me I'm an idiot. I had a really good time. I don't want to do it again, though. This is the first and last time I'm doing this. So, we're going to see you guys next week. What is going to be our topic? Oh, man. So, we talked about a dream comp last week. We're talking about operators this week. You know what? It's time to talk about a map. It's time to talk about a map. And ladies and gentlemen, next week, when you tune in, we're going to talk about one of the best maps in the game and how it can be changed. We're going to be talking about Bank. Don't forget to swap those mags. Peace!
Swapping mags.
Swapping mags!
Swapping mags. Swapping mags. Swapping mags.
Swapping mags.